This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. And what I'm looking at today is 2011's The Thing, directed by Matthijs van Heijningen Jr. And when this movie came out, now keep in mind, this is a prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing. When this came out, I'll admit, being one of the people that hated on this movie, that was so pissed off by this movie existing for various reasons. For instance, John Carpenter didn't direct it. They used animatronics and practical effects and put CGI over them. That really bothered me at the time. So having rewatched it, this is a damn good movie. The story is essentially the same as The Thing. It is a prequel after all. And it is very well directed. It is shockingly good, in fact. And as far as the CGI over the practical effects goes, to be totally honest, it's not that big a deal visually, which matters the most. And in fact, I get the feeling that the use of the CGI over the practical effects is somewhat overstressed, which is to say, the visual effects look very good. Can you tell there's a presence of CGI? Sure you can. But the movement of the characters, the way they look, pretty much clearly says that we're talking about a physical effect here. And it's a union of the two. Not what a lot of people would prefer. Hell, not what I would have preferred originally. But it works. It is not bad. And the director is clever enough not to spend too much time on these creatures. So you see them, but the camera doesn't spend all that much time focusing on their anatomy. So the fact that you have a practical effect with CGI doesn't really register. It didn't for me at any rate. And I really enjoyed this movie for the most part, though it does have problems. If you recall John Carpenter's original, it had an element of paranoia to it. Who was the thing? Who did it spread to? So on and so forth. That was interesting. What Van Heijningen does in reference to this movie is remove that aspect of it. And it doesn't really benefit the movie, I don't think. But the thing is, it's also a different movie. If he would have done as John Carpenter did with the original, what would be the point of watching this movie? It would be literally the same. And it's still very similar nonetheless, but it would have been exactly similar. So that would have been a problem. Though to be totally honest, it becomes more a monster of the week, well, in this case, of the minute type thing, more than it is a suspenseful horror film. That's a bit of a pity. That whole element of paranoia, of not trusting the people you have to live with, is really minimized here. And the movie doesn't quite benefit for it. There are other problems as well, but they're relatively minor. The thing about the prequel to The Thing is that the type of movie that it is has changed. And that's not a bad thing. Though, I think it would have been better received if, for instance, John Carpenter actually directed it. Though also, if the location had changed. Now, you can't change the location because it's a prequel. It's locked in. But if something could have been done to differentiate where the story took place, because as I already said, you've removed the elements of paranoia for the most part, in that, sure, the people don't know who's been possessed by the thing. That is something that the prequel as well as John Carpenter's movie hold common. But unlike with John Carpenter's movie, it's revealed so often and so quickly in the prequel that it doesn't matter. Because if you don't know who the thing is in this movie, just give it about 5 minutes. They'll reveal themselves. The creature can't process things that aren't part of the human body. So if you have fillings in your teeth, for example, it can't duplicate those fillings. So it has to eject them. If you have, I don't know, a metal plate somewhere in your body because reasons, the creature can't copy that because it's not an actual part of your body. That's pretty clever. But unfortunately, the movie doesn't really introduce anything new. It is based upon the story Who's Out There, like John Carpenter's movie. So there's just nothing really innovative about it, but it's surprisingly entertaining. The Thing, the 2011 version, is currently on Tubi, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. It is not bad. If you haven't been at all influenced by the CGI covering up the practical effects type of stuff, you're going to enjoy yourself. So what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.